Hello and welcome back to Killershrewfan's 12 Days of Reviews. As we all know, the holidays are a time for gifts. Whether we're giving, receiving, or just experiencing the gift of time spent with loved ones, presents are certainly a cornerstone of the season. With that in mind, it seems only fitting that I review a gift that was sent to me earlier this year. So about a year ago, I got a DM through my Instagram from a follower who had commissioned a 3D sculpture of Ankylosaurus as well as a gaggle of Homalocephaly, each of the latter in a different pose, and he was kind enough to offer to send me a 3D printed copy of each to show off on the channel. It was a wonderful gesture, and I'm only sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. But like I said, the holiday season provided the perfect backdrop for this review, so that's what we're going to be doing today. There you can see the Ankylosaurus flanked by the 4 Homalocephaly figures, and something I feel I must comment on right out of the gate is that these figures are all quite small. I know we might be going a little out of order here, but this facet of the pieces is really going to inform a lot of my thoughts, so I feel it bears discussing right away. You can see that the Ankylosaurus measures in at around 4.5 inches long, or roughly 11.5 centimeters, and comes in at just over 1¼ inches off the ground, or around 3 centimeters, which is also about the same measurement for its width at the widest point. So not a very big figure at all, roughly 153 to 170 scale, but if you think that's small, then the Homalocephaly are absolutely minuscule. In fact, I can fit 3 out of 4 of them on a penny, so absolutely tiny that lot. But that's what I love about the figures, especially the Homalocephaly. Given their smaller sizes, they would make perfect accents to bases and/or any custom diorama. I don't think anything would illustrate my point better than this image right here of 3 of the Homalocephaly posed on the GR Toys Dicraeosaurus base. The varied poses allow them to interact with the environment, and the smaller size makes them a part of it rather than in control of it, just as it would be in nature. In fact, I like this image so much that I'm half tempted to give these guys a quick paint up and then just attach them where they are now. The only thing holding me back is that these weren't contemporaries with Dicraeosaurus, but any base or diorama meant to be from the Namek formation could benefit from having these little guys as accent pieces, I'm sure. They come in 4 different poses. The first one I like to call the Sentry. It's been sculpted reared up almost like a meerkat on lookout while other members of the clan go about their business. This might also give you an idea of just how small these figures are. As you can see, it's not even as big as my fingertip. And although at this scale it's not really possible to render great levels of detail, all the forms seem to be there, which is great to see. You might be able to make out the broad strokes of the head like the dome, skull, and beak, but that's about it. And at this size, I'm not even upset by that. The next of the group appears to be posed in a grazing or drinking posture, leaned over with the tail held up as a counterbalance. You can see the beak quite well on this one, and I'm not sure if it's just my imagination or what, but I feel like the nails are more separated from the toes, and the tarsals might even have some scoots. It's hard to tell for sure, but if they are there, then that's incredible. The third one is potentially my favorite. It's posed in a reclining state with the legs tucked up beneath it. It's rare to get figures in this sort of posture, but I always like the image of a resting dinosaur. There's something very serene and refreshing about seeing these animals that are so often posed in extreme motion being rendered in a much more peaceful manner. Again, the broad strokes are somewhat apparent here, but it really is the pose that makes this one for me. The fourth and final offering has that more standard ambling posture, and even though this idea is more commonly done, I must applaud the fact that we still got 3 distinct and largely novel poses in addition to this offering, and this one does look pretty good in its own right. I might even be able to make out the shape of the eyes on this one, which is really cool. That being said, the bipedal locomotive posture makes balancing this one impossible at this scale, and it would have to be glued down to whatever surface you wanted to include it on. Perhaps it could be paired with the Sentry offering, as if the two are engaging in some cranial shoving, and the rearing one has just taken a hit on the flank and is now reeling from the impact. The possibilities for interpretation with this group are quite expansive, given that you have 4 to work with. For another comparison, here's the whole gang next to another Namek friend. It's Schwanzi the Tarbosaurus by PNSO, or at least his foot, if that gives you an idea of how small these Homalocephaly are. But now for the Ankylosaurus, and although the Homalocephale make that guy look big, don't be fooled, he is quite small. I know we already talked about its size, but just to nail the point home, here's the figure next to Seed, PNSO's Ankylosaurus. Not only do I think this helps to illustrate the question of size, but I feel it also is a good indication for just how well this model captures the look of Ankylosaurus. I always felt Seed was the best mass-produced option currently available in the market, so when I say that this figure gets even nearer the mark, then you know it's gotta be something special. The angularity of the skull, as well as all of the armor across the head, looks correct, at least insofar as I can tell at this size. Meanwhile, the armor layout appears to closely follow the Arbor 2017 reconstruction, complete with these smaller ossicles between the armor, which at this scale is an impressive amount of detail. I also appreciate the sagging paunch of this thing. It has a very rotund appearance, a lot like the larger counterpart Seed, and when you flip it over, you are treated to some great scale detail across the swell, along with some pulling skin folds around the limbs. The legs themselves feel perfectly proportioned, robust enough to carry that weight, yet still maintaining a gracile look. All in all, I'm very impressed with the sculpt work on this piece, and I can't help but feel that it would look even more impressive with paint added to bring all of that sculpt work to life. I'm actually fairly tempted to try my hand at it and perhaps paint it up like a Saurian model, as that's what this piece puts me in mind of. I'll close with the obligatory Hell Creek formation comparison in the form of Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex alongside Logan, his potentially juvenile counterpart. Now if you know that figure, you know it's not very big, yet even he manages to make this Ankylosaurus look small. And that's about all there is to these custom 3D printed figures. The artist did a wonderful job at ensuring both the broad strokes of the animal were captured, as well as the nitty-gritty details wherever possible. And that's due in large part to the individual who commissioned these pieces and provided scientific feedback to the sculptor along the way. I feel truly lucky to have been given the chance to take a look at them on the channel, and am excited to find a proper use for them amongst my collection. As always though, I want to hear from you guys about these pieces. How do you think they turned out? How would you use them in your own displays, and are they something you think you would be interested in owning? Drop a comment down below and I'll be sure to pass it on to the artist in question. Thank you for tuning in to today's review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again tomorrow when we take a look at some figures that are at the Triceratop of their game.